Forging is making a component to its shape by hot working. Have you heard a company called Bharat Forge? They are the largest in the world today. Who is the largest fabrication company in the world? L&T, Larsen and Toubro. Look at them. It's an Indian company. These are far bigger than value of Apple, Microsoft and Google. So, does India has a company of a capacity like Google, Microsoft or Apple? We don't have the company to that level, but we have the company which has in the materials and minerals. Now, when you talk about the economy, what is the end product of any company? Normally we say they produce steels. Suppose somebody say they produce garments. Say they produced vehicles. What is the end product? I will say also end product is always money. People always compare in terms of what is the turnover. So all commodities in the world, they are sold. Services which are sold. But the volume of the company is identified by the net worth or the turnover which company makes. So when you come, I'm very pleased to have speaking on this because this is my first forum on which I'm talking on economy and metallurgy and materials. Now friends, I think I would like to show you some slides, but I think you're okay with it because there are only 8-10 slides which I have to show you, which I might show you on the way when we go further. But before this, before I talk about the correlation between the metal materials and the economy, let us first talk about the how material evaluation occurred in the civilization. See, anything and everything I want you people to understand. What all you are studying here, everything is to deal with improving the life of a human being. Whatever you do, whatever. Just a minute. So whatever we try and achieve, it always has to be correlated in terms of growth. So when we talk about the earlier development of the metals and materials, now this is where, when I told you one sentence that any development, any aspect has always been around the evolution of humankind. So which was the first material which came to the which gave humans a chance to trade, which gave humans a chance to, which were noble metals. Now noble metals, I think the gold and silver were the first metals they were known to mankind. And while all trade and economy started in, it is one of the oldest profession in the world. That is where the in fact trade and exchange started. That okay, if I have a gold, you give me these things. If I have a gold, this much amount of gold, I get this many things. After gold and silver, they were the noble metals because they were available in the pure form in the metal. Okay, now I want to also give you one small concept here. I'm tell you already the answer, but you all know that metals and alloys and materials, they degrade with the time, right? But why gold and silver they don't degrade with the time? Because they are available in a pure form in the metal. Where all other materials and metals, you have to engineer it to see that they come to the pure state. So whenever they get a chance, they go back to the original state. So gold and silver were the materials and alloys which were known to mankind, and they started utilizing into their day-to-day advantages. So after that, which was the country which it is believed that, the history says that Spain is the country where they first identified the presence of gold. And after that, the revolution started in the whole world. And slowly, people, you know that if you look at the human civilization before Christ and after Christ, there's so many eras which has been identified. So which was the first era of a human being? Stone Age. Why they call it as a Stone Age? Because at that time, I think I would like also to get more comfortable in talking. This gives me a feeling of I'm one of you. The stone era provided the opportunity then to make all the tools and tackle from the stone. They utilized even weapons. They were made up of stone. After which age came? The Bronze Age came. Then which were the metals which were easy to manufacture by even simple providing the heating? It was tin, zinc and lead. They are easy to smelt. This is known as smelting operation. So whenever they are available, so the technology started coming into it, and then they started in all these three metals. If you look at it, they are ductile and malleable. So you can shape the way you want. So it started giving them the additional age to the human civilization, and the entire age has been put. But where the real technology started coming in, the real technology started coming in is a simple rule of survival. War has started between different civilizations, different tribes, and that is where the material really evolved, because it became the question of survival. Let me tell you, you must have heard about the different treatment. Now, what is material science and what is metallurgy? Material science, if I have to define, it's an art and extraction of different materials from the nature and make them in an engineering application in such a way that it is useful to make the intended function. Now, metallurgy is a part of the material science, and when it is so much involved and engrossed with your economy, with your survival. Now, when we talk about survival, which part of the world is known as warrior of the world? They ruled the whole world. See, if you decide the world in three categories, the first were the Aryans, then you have the Dravids and Mongols. Mongols are the people with that upper eye, we call them, any part of the people, we always call them a Chinese. But look at these, then all the people in the world, rest of the people are hybrid between these three traits of a human being. So if you look at the development in the world, these three traits basically try to prove superiority over each other, and then they started doing some experiments, and those experiments are today are known as innovations and research. They were in place from the day one when civilization started. The way people say that the invention of a wheel has changed the engineering concept, and that is where the real engineering started, because you can take more load on the wheels, you can start making things automation with the help of wheel, with all help of automation. So that is the starting of the automation. But the civilization, they started utilizing the material to their advantages. Now when we talk about the use of invention and research, this along with the civilization and economy, the one which could do better would survive better. India has a great role to play in metals and materials through our Vedic knowledge. Let me tell you that we were one of the best ancient metallurgists. And if I ask you the ancient metallurgical abilities of India, the first thing which comes to mind is the iron pillar of India. I think many of you must have seen the movie called Chinikam, right? And the iron pillar is only nothing but, you see Amitabh Bachchan playing with the pillar. But there's more to it, a lot of history which has gone inside the entire. The significant aspect of the iron pillar is it was built 300 years before Christ. And in today also, can you see any rust on the iron pillar? So I'm sure it must have been made with the technology. It must have seen so many weathering effect. Any steel component, if it is not painted, what happens on the steel surface? So we had the technology at that time for the rust prevention. If you look at the quality of German silver articles which were made in India, of course, it's a Europe who taught us how to make the German silver articles. But German silver articles made in India was in a great demand in the Middle East. Whatever today you see in Middle East, the Dubai, the Arab lands, what you see today, at those places, their currency was Indian rupees. Do you know that? They all were trading in rupees. But the invention of oil, which changed the world face of economy, and suddenly started because India is a huge consumer of energy, and we started going onto the back foot. Now believe me, by giving the examples of number one in the world, we have the capacity of learning, implementing, and coming up into the world to achieve the number one position in the material science and metallurgy field. Now how we can do that? That is only possible by understanding the micro-constituents and what affects the properties of the material. So this is what I explained to you about the different ages of the metals and the civilization, how the metallurgy helped human survival, and that becomes the power for further things. Now this is which I explained to you about the Ashok pillar. Now very, very important aspect, I can speak for the entire day on this aspect. What is the role of metallurgy and materials in today's society? Can you imagine your life without application of metal and materials? That was a very good advertisement with SAIL India. They said that there is a little bit of steel in everybody's life. Do you remember that saying? Which is so true. It is said that even for a cancer medicine, gold is used as drug. So even for medical purposes, methotrexate is the name of the medicine which makes from the gold extract. So these are the use of different metals, so from curing to the disease to your life making so comfortable. Can you imagine the entire structure which is made here? How much ton of steel which has gone inside? Huge number of tons of steel which has gone inside this structure, which is giving you the shelter to learn. And it's a temple of knowledge, which could be made because of the use of different materials. So it's a typical example of the composite material, where we have used the compressive strength of the cement and tensile strength of the steel. So when both put together, they give you wonderful properties. Now before this technology evolved, if you look at the history of the materials, the houses were made up of bricks and clay. I used to live in Haveli. We had a Haveli in Gadialipur, which is in Baroda, and our house was about 200 years old. It's a typical Haveli where you can make the or use of mortars, and fantastic wood structures were made. Even in today's time, that structure is still intact. So there was the technology available with us. Only thing, we did not market ourselves. Now, where we have to raise ourselves in materials and metallurgy, it has correlated with your self-esteem. Why self-esteem is important with economy? It's very, very important is that I can do it, and I want to do it, and I will do it. Without even looking at the developed countries and say that no, this is not possible because I'm studying in India, my English is poor. I'm studying in India because my fundamentals are not good. These are all excuses, believe me. Today, you all are sitting in an air-conditioned room with a beautiful chair where you are resting yourself comfortably. We have studied on wooden benches and on wooden things with fan on our head. The attention at that time, we paid attention. Right now, the issue is that we use the information and knowledge more for socializing rather than improving ourselves, and that is very, very important. I'm not against the use of Facebook and this chat, but I want you people to utilize that knowledge, information rather. I will say it's information. There is a difference between information and knowledge. What is the difference between information and knowledge? Google gives you knowledge or information? Information. And what is knowledge? Knowledge is understanding of the information and application to improve any cause is knowledge. Because believe me one thing, you at this point of time, you understand one thing very, very important. Without the purpose, information will never become knowledge. So first and foremost thing as a student, what is important for you is to understand the purpose. So once you decide the purpose, then you decide to improve on it. Okay, where India can make a huge difference in the world is in the field of nanotechnology. Have you heard about it? So nanotechnology is nothing but the application and engineering of the materials at nano level. Now before we go into little details of the nanotechnology aspect, I would like to talk on the importance of different materials and metals in a human life. Okay, so when we talk about the developments, the most important developments which you all have seen is probably a car. We started, myself and Dr. Pai, when we used to travel in a Fiat or an Ambassador at that time, it was considered to be privilege. Today they are extinct car. Today on the road you see one of the topmost brands in the world which is running on the Indian roads effectively. Now have you ever thought that a weight of the Indian car and a weight of a foreign car, it is in tons, right? Maybe 1 ton or 1.2 ton. 1000 kg के आसपास उसका weight होता है कार का. If you talk in terms of material, what is the cost difference between Indian car and a foreign car? $20 times, 10 times, depending upon the brand value they have created. Imagine if you weigh the material inside, the material is weighing almost the same, but you are paying that 8 to 10 times for the component and materials because they have researched, they have engineered themselves. This is what, believe me, India has approached us. Do you know the whole world is now eyeing on India for research? Because Indian brains, I see whatever young minds which I have right now, they are going to be the future technology producer. And genetically, we have been identified as a great learners. That's the reason the people take years to evolve themselves. We Indians will take 1/10 or 1/28 of that year to evolve and come to that level. That's why today if you see, none of the research product which is coming into the world where Indians have not contributed. Very low, very less areas. But time is that in India, General Electricals, if you have heard about that name, General Electricals have put a very big research center in Bangalore. Huge research center. Siemens has also put in Gurgaon. They are all leaders in technology. Now when I say technology, they are into different parts. Have you heard about gas turbines?
Yes.
Gas turbines are producing the combustion, the gas is combusted and expanded in the turbine blades. So the the heat energy is converted to kinetic energy and the generator rotor rotates. In order to do that, this gas turbine, we do not have any Indian manufacturer. BHEL, you must have heard about it, Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited. They are producing steam turbines. They have gone a step ahead and produced the gas turbine. What is gas turbine is made up of? Gas turbine is made up of very high grade materials because the temperature which they have to withstand is around 1000 degrees centigrade temperature. And steam turbine you have to deal with 500 to 600 degrees centigrade temperature. In order to deal with high temperature, you need much better alloys, much better coating, which is made up of different oxides, and much better technology. In order to do that, they do a lot of research. Now, where they are doing their research done? In India. What they are trying to give us is a proper environment. What we have to create as a true Indian is to create that environment and create honesty within us. If you really want to deal with the material, you have to deal with the nature's law rather than your own law. Because every material follows the nature's law. Let me tell you one example. There is one component which is known as shape memory alloy. Have you heard about it? Shape memory alloy. What does that mean? That alloy remembers its shape at a particular temperature. There can be an immense application of this material. For example, it can be put into fire alarm. You can put into where a slight temperature increases, it changes the shape so that you can immediately get the signals. And one of the very important use of shape memory alloys in the human body. When you have a tumor in your body, if you put at the nape of the shape memory alloy, with the temperature of the body it shrinks and it doesn't allow the tumor to grow. So there are beautiful application of these materials into our life, and that is why it has application. So when my idea here is Vishnu, I'm not an economist, let me tell you that. Where I can only see a growth is the first figure which I showed you, that this is the turnover and this is the profit. That is not economy. Economy is generating jobs. Economy is generating revenue for the country. Economic growth is improving the lifestyle of the people. Now that is very, very possible if you stick to the basic of materials and metallurgy. Because as I told you, you are mainly spending as an individual in materials and metals. Look at from jewelries to your home and your car. These are the three things where you will put all your money. And these are the things which will give you gadgets, which will give you. Now India is not doing so well in the electronic and electrical area. But yes, where is our strength? Our strength lies in our resources. What are our resources? India is rich in ore and coal. So what main research is doing is to get how we can become the economic power in material science and metallurgy, how we can be by producing cheaper goods. How do you make a cheaper goods? Can you say that I've moved around the world and I don't see India as a poor country anymore? We have a lot of people living in urban areas and the lifestyle is equally good as developed countries. But yes, we have lot many people where our villages needs to be developed. So if you try to develop indigenous products, if you try to develop the material related. For example, any mechanical engineer, if I say, I'm sure there may be a lot of mechanical engineers or MBA people which are sitting here. These mechanical engineering students, let me tell you that your dream will be always to have a factory of your own. Believe me, if you concentrate on the materials and metals, you will be a successful entrepreneur. Even if you are in a job and if you concentrate, because what happens is whenever I see a lot of mechanical engineers coming to me and asking me to learn about iron and carbon diagram after the age of 40, 45, because they feel that I had always kept this dry subject as an option subject. So when it requires into the industry, they lag behind. So my appeal to you people is that try and understand material science. Have you studied material science as your curriculum? Material science, because that's the mother of economy of any country. Now I gave you an example of aspect that war has brought the economical developments in the entire human race evaluation. So when it started, with the first war demanded the use of destruction. And in order to do the use of destruction, weapon comes the first. So you can find out something which is known as Damascus dagger. A Damascus dagger is the world famous dagger. Now India, we all call Rampuri Chaku. Have you heard about that name? Why? Because it became famous in those areas. The capacity of performing the act. What is the act of a weapon? Either to murder, either to destruct, or either to blow. If it is done effectively. So which people could rule on another people who had the better weapons and better destructive abilities. So that the development of sword came into the picture. Now, in order to have the better and high strength swords, people started to put alloys and try to improve the properties. Now let me tell you one important aspect. In the whole world, the history of the material development, you must have heard about the heat treatment, right? Heat treatments are done in plastics, heat treatments are done in ceramics, heat treatments are done in metals. Why we do heat treatment to the metals and materials? To improve the properties. A very interesting thing which let me tell you, how heat treatment first evolved into the world. In the old days, people used to punish as a death penalty. What they were doing is, they had swords made of the metals. So they used to put a sword in the stomach of a person and take it out. It was to be done only once. If person survives, which means God doesn't want him to die. So some intelligent people, they said that okay, these criminals, they are getting away with the sword blows. So how do you achieve it? So they said, let us heat the sword and then put it inside the stomach. When they heated the sword, okay, the person died, but the heated sword got quenched. When they tried to measure the hardness of the sword increased. And they thought that by heating and quenching, you get increase the hardness. Now, once they knew this has happened, it has become the technology. You all know that Newton discovered the gravity law by only falling of the apple. So, things happens around you. Only thing is that you have to open your mind and understand. Having given this example, then the advantage, the development came into the microscope, because it is very, very important to identify why metal behave the way they are. So this is something which needs to be understood, and people started correlating the properties with the structure. So the development of microscope came into the picture, and after that, you must have seen microscope, especially during your biological lab. This microscope is nothing but to look inside the metals and materials beyond human eye resolution. So you need an aid of a microscope. The microscope, they all identified why hardening occur because of the heat and quench. And they found out that, okay, when I heat at this rate,